to have you here today.
Thanks very much, Simon, and good morning, everybody. Absolutely delighted to be here. And just to add to what Simon has said, Makerversity is home to around 100 creative tech startups, and around 250 to 300 people are members with us every single day. And their practice is very much where creativity, technology and science overlap, but also where the physical and digital worlds meet. And we curate a membership that, as you know, Simon, very well, is based across everything from product design, IoT, digital manufacturing, sustainable materials innovation, fashion, architecture, speculative design, service design, a really broad spectrum of disciplines. And we very much believe in a philosophy of unexpected encounters and original outcomes. And as far as possible, we try and have a diverse community who want to interact with others, want to hack new ideas. Very often people meet their co-founders in the space. But one of the key things we curate for is not just the thing we don't yet know exists, but also people that really want to contribute to that community, because that's what makes it really successful.
Yes, fantastic. Well, we're going to do this little film now. We're going to share the screen.
Makerversity is for sure a space where it feels collaborative. It's a wealth of human knowledge and exchange and dialogue. And everybody's here with that notion.
We found ourselves in a position where we needed an immediate response, pivot, and make something like within a week. Within a week, you're manufacturing.
It doesn't feel tacky or it doesn't feel forced.
So there's loads of resources at Makerversity, but one resource that we specifically use is the textiles department.
One of my favourite things about Makerversity is definitely the people, and also I met my co-founders in that space as well, so invaluable.
I'm Nate. I'm a Makerversity member, currently in Vault 9 with this very large 3D printer. I am pretty sure this is one of the largest 3D printers in Europe, and it happens to be in the heart of central London, where at the moment we're printing parts for another member who's making electric scooters, but we've made surfboards, we've made guitars, we've made a body for a magnetic train, and that's all thanks to this incredible space at Somerset House, where creatives, designers and thinkers can come, and whether it's prototype or produce, it's here, and it's unique to this space that we have such a huge platform for creativity.
If we could get to the essence of Makerversity, and what is the core purpose of Makerversity? Why should we all be so interested in the work that you're doing?
So Makerversity really is about pioneering solutions for the future, and the people that we invite to come and work at Makerversity are very much trying to solve the gigantic societal problems that we all face. So climate change, pollution, impact on the planet is probably the single unifying mission of our membership. And we find that people come up with some quite incredible solutions, for example, to waste in fashion, where we had a company who joined us as 3 independent Royal College of Art, Imperial design engineering graduates. They met each other and they started to prototype a solution to waste in fashion with knitting machines, which very rapidly evolved to become a software stack that the fashion industry uses to optimize production and mean that less materials are used. So we have people trying to solve those problems in fashion, trying to work with materials that are made from recycled plastic or birch sap or seaweed. So we have another company whose entire ethos is around small collections of fashion, not many throwaway pieces. All of their collections are made from waste. And actually both of those companies been very successful, raised significant rounds of equity funding to scale across the world. And we have very exciting instances of people working in those areas. There's lots of sustainable materials innovation. During the pandemic, we turned our community's talents to helping solve some of the problems that were going on. So it's very much a mission-driven organisation with people who really want to fix the world for the future.
Yes, absolutely. So I know that because, of course, I've spoken to you many times before. But so how, in many ways, if you like, 2020 and the pandemic actually brought your mission and the work that you do into a very sort of sharp and sudden focus. So tell me about one or two of the things how you responded, or how the makers within Makerversity responded to 2020.
So it was remarkable at the start of the pandemic. Obviously, it sideswiped everybody straight away, and we spun up WhatsApp groups and Slack groups with our membership because everyone knew that they had the skills to offer, particularly as supply chains were so disrupted. There was a major shortage of PPE. There was talk at the time of ventilator parts becoming in short supply. So clearly in medical devices, it's also very challenging to innovate quickly and bring a product to market quickly. So there was I would say frenzied hive of activity across all of those groups. And we were working not just with our membership, but also the Healthcare Workers Foundation, which is a charity that supports frontline workers. Med Supply Drive, which is an organisation, another charity that distributes supplies to hospitals. And various organisations came together under an umbrella that we called SHIELD. And we started to fundraise, we started to source 3D printers. And the fastest solution we could provide was actually face shields for frontline workers because they just didn't have any. And the ones that were there were often made with foam and couldn't be reused, so were just being thrown away. And that was one of the really shocking things during the pandemic, just how much we forgot about the green and the sustainability agenda because people were clearly in survival mode. So we decided to produce a face shield. That was led by Nate Petrie, who is a PhD in digital disruptive manufacturing, who had written a thesis and prototyped his thesis in Africa and also in the Caribbean about how digital manufacturing could solve the lack of products that were available in emerging countries. So it was a kind of fast forward actually of his thesis. And we got into full production mode. So 100 3D printers sourced later, many prototypes of a face shield that were rapidly iterated by our members, and then a production line. So we gave over a big chunk of Makerversity space to this production line, and through that process got a CE marking in only 3 months, produced 100,000 face shields that were all reusable, crucially, and made from reclaimed ocean plastic or recycled plastic.
Yeah.
So that was our key initiative.
Yes, so absolutely amazing. So just tell me, just anecdotally, how did you corral all these people? Because into moving so quickly in March and April and May. You weren't allowed. I can't even remember now. Were we allowed to meet? We weren't allowed to meet. How did you make it all happen?
So I think we didn't need to corral anybody, which was the incredible thing about our community, that they were so motivated. They were actually beating a path to my door saying, how can we help? Can you facilitate and mobilize us to help? So it was very much bubbling up from our community. And I would say obsessively, people could see the problems in front of them. We relied heavily on having virtual work streams and working groups and lots of video calls with our various partners. But there was such a collective spirit of we have to solve this now because people are really dying at frontline because they don't have the right equipment. So no corralling at all. And that's what's so phenomenal about the Makerversity community. They really want to help.
Yeah, fantastic. So now so it's your challenge, you're the CEO. It's your challenge now to take that on. And so what plans have you got for 2021? And do you go into, well, we're into 2021, but, you know, let's say the next 18 months or so, what, you know, how excited are you and what are the plans, and are you still corralling or not having to corral?
So the great thing is we've never had to corral because we've just got this groundswell of passion and enthusiasm. What we thought was very important after this initial push with face shields, which was solving the problem of that time, is that there are many remaining healthcare and wellbeing problems in society as a whole that we're probably going to be living with post-pandemic for 5 years more. And also what's been exposed are some quite huge societal inequalities, more than we even imagined. So what we have done following on from that project is we've continued to work with the Healthcare Workers Foundation, and we've recruited people who are specifically innovating in the health tech area. And, you know, when we worked out where we can get them started, we hope in the next 3 to 4 weeks, we have 4 teams who are specifically working in that area and will be creating new solutions. So one of the teams has this amazing hand sanitizing stone that is personal to you and could be rolled out to everyone in the NHS or ourselves as we're moving around society. We have somebody else who's looking at remote robotics arms and actually solutions in healthcare that are robotics based. We have another team that have developed an app that maps inequality in healthcare. So we have an incredible group of people, again, physical and digital practice, that are now going to start working. And it's the first time we've ever had a health tech cohort at Makerversity. So we're very excited about that.
So, I mean, you have limited space there. So does this direction that you've just explained, does that start to take over Makerversity? How do you keep Makerversity open for all those wonderful creative people I've seen who are not necessarily working towards solutions for the pandemic and the health sector?
So we have enough space to do that. We have a dedicated area specifically for those 4 teams. And actually one of the things we do is we have a Makers with a Mission cohort, which we run every 6 months, who are people working, trying to solve those huge societal problems specifically. And we also have an under 25s free program, which enables people to see if creative entrepreneurship is for them. So we've got the space, and we've also got the membership community that there's lots of peer-to-peer support that goes on. So to have those teams around other members and engaging with different types of practices is really important. But no, happy to say we have the space.
Yes, good. And so who do you look for now? I mean, has that changed? Well, just tell me generally, who do you look for, and how do people apply to Makerversity, and what do they have to demonstrate to have the privilege to come and use your space?
So they can apply via our website, and we're always publishing news about our members, videos about our members' practice. So we tend to find that the majority of our inquiries come through our website. But what we do is curate this membership community, and we're looking for people that are really pioneering new solutions. So things that I would say we don't yet know exist, and possibly people don't quite yet know or don't understand what those things are that they're seeing. And we have a lot of speculative design that 5 years down the track, we can actually see in real solutions in society. So we're looking at people that really are at the pioneering edge of what is coming. And to give an example of that, we had a team in autonomous vehicles, and we'll all have heard the stories of autonomous vehicles knocking people over and that they're being quite dangerous. What this team worked out, and they're working with some big partners like Airbus, the London Mayor's Office, with London Transport, what they worked out is that our cultural code of movement is different city by city in the world. And they developed an algorithm that could work out whether you were a risky London pedestrian or you were a pedestrian in New Delhi that ambles across the road to stop cars hitting you, or you were in the US and very rules based when it comes to crossing the road. So they have developed a software stack which goes into autonomous vehicles, but also other moving vehicles that will stop people being hit. And that was a very, very clever, because before people were coding for homogeneity. So they've effectively decoded our cultural code of movement and have raised $5 million to date to scale their company. And they're now on to a $10 million fundraise to take it even further. So we have people that, you know, when they joined us, again, 3 RCA graduates, didn't really know each other, formed their team, expanded to 20 people, which was far too big for Makerversity. By the time your team hits 12 people, you're probably ready to move on. Yeah. But they're about to scale up to 60 people now. So that's an example of something that looked very weird and not necessarily very comprehensible at the time, but it's that we're really looking for.
Yes, fantastic. And so once you've made that decision, how do those, particularly those younger companies, how do they fund themselves, and how do you apply grants? How does the funding work?
So we don't currently, but one of the things that I'm looking to set up this year is a foundation that enables us to actually fund those programs for really early stage entrepreneurs. So if you're an under 25 or you're a maker with mission, you benefit from free space in a program. But we don't currently offer bursaries because we haven't got the capacity to do so. So we're very much looking at structuring our work into a foundation and fundraising through that foundation, really to make the facilities and support that we offer much more profound. I think it's also important to say that not everyone in Makerversity is on an equity investing and high growth journey. There are some incredibly valuable and important companies for whom that journey is just not appropriate. So the advice we give about funding is very much a holistic approach. So for some people, they'd be better off having non-dilutive grant funding. For others, social impact debt funding may be better. For others, quite clearly, equity investment and rapidly scaling is important to them, and that's the route they should go down. So our advice is very much across the board. Equally in that area, in the equity funding area, we're going to be looking at how we can formalise an offer that's appropriate for our type of innovator, who are not often very well served by current approaches. So I'm working with Creative England at the moment to try and raise awareness of investing in creative entrepreneurs.
Yes, well, I'm really glad I asked you that question, because, you know, I'm extremely keen to, particularly with the foundation, to be putting that in front of the forum members who I know would be attracted to that proposition. And I think we got a little stymied by, we had a plan, didn't we, for April of last year, which didn't happen. So, but as soon as we can all meet again, we'll put that back on the agenda, definitely. So I've got a question in from Richard, my old university friend, Richard Burge, who's now very important. Richard,
I don't think so.
So just explain to us all your new role in life.
Yeah, my new gig is I'm Chief Executive of the London Chamber of Commerce and Industries, which I took over 7 weeks before lockdown. So I have a laptop and a banner, and that's basically it. Fiona's really interesting. 2 questions. And sort of a proposition. One is, how well does, at the moment you're based in Somerset House, and I can see a lot of the dynamism of this comes because people are physically together and seeing what each other are doing. It sounds to me like a creative arts version of the Crick Institute. So I can use, is there an opportunity for new places to open up? And I'm just thinking, you know, you could open up something on the ground floor of a building in the City of London, because there's going to be a lot of ground floors available where people can actually see this stuff happening. You can all walk past the window and see people do interesting stuff, which to me is the way cities are going to flourish now a lot, is that, you know, show and tell atmosphere. And the second question I've got for you is BAME equitability, particularly amongst Black people and Black creatives, Black entrepreneurs and to really address massive inequalities, not just in finance, but in awareness and in terms of creating an atmosphere where Black innovators feel they are welcome and they have a place there. They're not unusual. You know, you have events in the city where bluntly there are more Black people sitting at the table than waiting at it, which is my ambition. So are you doing anything around that? So 2 questions.
Great, thanks, Richard. I think both of those are spot on. And to take the first one, we currently have a project going on with Westminster City Council with a number of different organisations that include the Courtauld, that include Somerset House, that include King's, amongst many others. And you're exactly right. What we're trying to do is showcase entrepreneurship and showcase and inspire people to participate. So that's in its very early stages, but I think you're absolutely right that, you know, I know Westminster City Council are also looking at all of the retail that is not currently occupied, and they are trying to encourage creative entrepreneurs and artists into those spaces to showcase what they do on a temporary, meanwhile basis. So I think this is spot on. And, you know, I think we all know that London, central London footfall is 92% lower than it was at the start of the pandemic. So, you know, some really imaginative approaches are needed to inspire people again and have those spaces living and used. So those ideas are very much in play. If you have thoughts about it, I would really love to talk to you more about it, because we have a community that very much loves to get itself in front of audiences and participate with the public. And that's something that, you know, pre-pandemic, a big strand of our work was showcasing through cultural programming at Somerset House the work of our members, which we would do around London Design Festival every year, but also other key parts of the design calendar, like London Festival of Architecture, amongst others. So yes, we're very open to that, and we think it's important. Diverse founders, I mean, part of our ethos is that we're a diverse community, and it's an obsession, and it's something that we measure. And that obviously is reliant on people wanting us to use their data and permissioning us to use it. But we measure where people are from. We have a very diverse community. About 65% of the people in it are from other countries. What we found to attract a diverse range of founders is it's not about talking to people in the same places. It's about talking to different networks and expanding our networks and making sure that the opportunity to be part of Makerversity is published. One of the things we do is we work with the Prince's Trust, and we provide training with our members who are experts in their field to 16 to 25-year-olds who are not in education, employment or training, and very often come from diverse backgrounds. And that is a key strand of our work. And it doesn't just stop with the Prince's Trust programme. What we then try and do is offer work experience to those teams, and then ultimately take them on a journey where they could grow into under 25s and ultimately become members. And over time, we've refined our approach and got more and more successful. And through that programme, our obsession is to transfer 21st century skills to people that otherwise couldn't access them. So that's a key part of our ethos and our members ethos. And I will always say there's always more work to do. You've never done enough. But that's really important to us.
Yeah, fascinating. Richard, do you want to come back on that at all?
No, very happy to hear that, and I'd be very happy to have a chat with you, Fiona, fairly quickly. So if Simon can get us to exchange email addresses, that'd be great.
I will certainly do that, and I can tell you a few stories about Richard as well, Fiona, from our university days.
Not them all. The last time he saw a beard on me was 41 years ago. So
showing your age, Richard. So we're very close to the end here. Marta's just a very straightforward question about how we stay in touch with you. Do you send out newsletters? Do we have to check your website? How do you communicate with people who are interested in the work that you're doing?
So we have a website, we have an Instagram account, LinkedIn. So we're on all of the usual platforms. We do have a newsletter that you can sign up to as well. I'm very happy to circulate details of those later.
Terrific. Well, if you could give that to me, Fiona, then I'll make sure that everyone who's listened in today gets that as well. So I'm just going to finish. Michael, you've got a question there. Thank you. But I'm going to actually just, Charles Douglas has just come in and is actually asking whether, Fiona, you've heard of zinc.vc. Have you ever heard of them or worked with them?
Yes.
You have?
We have, yeah. So we're collaborating with Zinc at the moment to support their health members when they need equipment. And I've just been mentoring one of their teams who are also one of our makers with a mission. So sometimes our membership overlap and helping them find the right funders and the right scientific expertise to advise on something they're building. So yes, we are aware of them, absolutely.
Good. Well, look, I'm going to wrap it up there. We like to keep it very short and sharp, and the whole concept of the Tuesday Connection is that it's a short period of time. You invest that time, you learn 2 or 3 new things that you didn't know, and I think we've definitely achieved that today with you, Fiona. So thank you very much. And also, can I say what an amazing kitchen you've got there? And I'm sure that's the nicest kitchen that any forum member owns. But thank you so much, everybody, and good to see you all. Just a quick reminder that on Thursday afternoon, 5 o'clock GMT, 6 o'clock for those of you sitting in on Central European time, Elizabeth Linda is in conversation. Elizabeth was the founder of Facebook's government and politics division. Some of you will have remember hearing her talk with Adrian Wooldridge in December. Well, this time on Thursday, we're going to be talking about the big 5 on the West Coast and how they're going to influence our lives over the next 5 years. And maybe we might just ask her whether they're too powerful right now. So please tune in for that, 5 o'clock GMT on Thursday. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.